morning everyone, lovely to have you with me. It's Carol here at Oak House Journals. I'm going to do another Margarete Miller collage today, part of the 2024 collage challenge, and I'm working on week 22. So these are the prompts, these are my prompt pieces. So the first prompt is a border or a frame. Well, I've lifted out two circular frames here. Probably going to go with the larger of the two, and they are from the Ranger Tim Holtz Idea-ology baseboards, and these are the window frame collection. So I've had these for a little while but not actually used more than one of them, so I thought I would dig these out and make use of them today. Something found in a library, a very easy choice for something that you find in a library are these catalogue cards. Now this is a vintage one and it says Great City Libraries, and it's got gumdrop books down here which I absolutely love. The next prompt is a bug or insect. So I've done some fussy cutting. I've got this image of a black and white bee. I also have these little images of bees. I have this beetle, which he's definitely going to be too big for my piece today, but I could perhaps use half of him. And I've got these couple of little images there of bees. So I've got plenty of options to choose from for that particular prompt. I also have this lovely tag, which my very gifted friend Joy made for me a good few years ago, and I thought I would make use of it in my collage today. And look at all the beautiful layering that she's done. There's a little piece of vellum in the middle there with a tiny little printed butterfly on it, and if I flip it over it looks like that. So thank you very much, Joy. I really hope you don't mind me using it in my collage assignment today. The next one, a piece of newspaper. We do get a daily newspaper, but I really hate how the print comes off. I could have printed that and used the print copy, but what I decided to use was this paper bag which has got almost newspaper style print on it, so I thought I would use that and get the colour option as well. And finally, the next one, stitching, real, drawn or stamped. Well, I'm going to have a go at doing some either machine stitching or some hand stitching on this, and then paint splatters. Well, I'll come in at the end with some paint splatters. So as always, my prompt up in front of me. I've got my pieces here that I need. Let me just pop these to one side. First thing I need to do really is to split my bag. Now I'm not going to use this back portion, so I'm going to pop that to one side. The portion I think I'm going to use is this bit down here. I'm thinking I'll have that on there like that. I'm going to leave this in its entirety, and I'm not liking that black up there straight away, so I'm going to cut that away. Probably going to cut that line away as well, but we'll see for the moment. You know me, I like borders, so I quite like having that in there. So I might leave that as is and make use of those lines. Just going to pull it down a little bit and over to the left. Something like that. And I'm going to make use of it down here, I think. So I'm going to cover up this line here, and I'm going to cover up gumdrop but leave books, and just line that up something like that. I'm liking how this label, which Joy has used up here as a tab, is not quite the same height as this. Maybe pull that over so they're touching almost like that. Yeah, I'm liking that, but I want it up higher. What else do I need to get in? One of my bugs. I could have that one down in there like that to take off that bottom corner, have it half on and half off like that. Oh, my frames. Okay, so with these, I thought that I would accentuate that vellum circle there with a tiny little butterfly inside by using one of these, and I'm going to pop that one on there like that. It's a shame it's covering up that label, but I can't do anything about that. And there is almost a hint of green on here, which is picking up the green of that label, which is nice. I'm going to go with the bigger circle. Don't know why, but I think it feels, yeah, that's definitely better. Now these are quite thick. These are chipboard. So I am wondering whether or not to try and split it so that it's not so dimensionalized. It will have a bit of dimension on it, but not too much. Okay, I'm loving this as is. Let me just try one of these. I'm not averse to that really, but he's white on white, so he doesn't really stand out. What about if that's too much. That works, but he's quite big, so this piece would need to be much bigger, and I'd need to move all of this over to the right hand side. So I'm going to discard him. Let's just have a look at this if I pull this up here and out. Now ordinarily I wouldn't do that, or I would get a bigger piece to come over, but because I've got this, I don't need to worry about it too much. I can always put another little piece in behind. Don't like that image there, so I might have to choose another piece or hide it completely. Let me rearrange these. There's a lot going on this right hand side. That could come down some more. I think this is more or less how I'm going to have it. I'm lining up the edge of that tab with this. I like that this is staggered down here in that bottom corner. That needs moving up there like that. And it can come out some more actually. Let's have a look at that. This is very white and stark, or creamy and stark. So that's working, and I'm wondering about just moving that up. Okay everybody, that's how I'm going to have this. What I am going to do is I'm going to trim off this bottom piece down here. Not too much, but just break it up a little bit, I think. And yeah, I'm going to go with that. I'm going to put some glue behind one or two pieces to hold them in place. So I've decided I'm just going to leave this as is and not bother about it being quite dimensionalised. Before I go and glue this in place, I've got to make a decision about my stitching. Paint splatters is not an issue, but my stitching will be. I'm wondering whether or not to do a line of stitching round this card here, or whether or not to do it round that, or whether to just do a line down in there. And you know, I think I'm going to do a line of hand stitching down in there, which means I can go ahead and get this glued in place. This tag is absolutely lovely. Joy actually sent me 2 of these. Really beautiful work. Okay, I am going to trim away down here so that I've only got one line showing there, and take a line of text away along the top there. It feels a little bit more in proportion everywhere. I've lifted out my box of threads. This isn't glued down as yet onto my background because I want to do the stitching and splatters next. But first things first, I want to do the stitching. And I've lifted out these threads, and particularly these 2, because I'm looking at the colour tones in that tiny butterfly. So that's a warm gold colour, which I think might be nice. And bearing in mind I'm doing it up here, I think that might be nice. And then I'm picking up that colour, and I might do some down on the bee here, or I could go with that colour, which is the lower half of the wings, and that is a lot more subtle, but I think I'm going for the warm colours. So let's get some of that and do a little bit of stitching. But before I do anything else, I am still a little bit bothered about up here. I'm thinking about picking up the label idea that Joy has done on here and have one here as well. So I'm going to dig out some labels and see what will work. I'm actually thinking green would work nicely, which might mean I change that one. But let me see what I can find. I've dug my labels out, as you can see, and I've decided to have that circle one up there. It's not glued as yet, but the reason I've gone with that is because I've got a circle down here. I've also put a little one down in here because I felt that it would be nice to take this colour down and round a little bit. The one thing I'm not happy about is this one up here, and I did wonder about trying to put something like that there to try and soften down the blue, or perhaps find another one and have two side by side. But what I'm going to attempt first is to try and lift this label, and if it doesn't work, then I can pop another one on top. That label has come off really easily actually. It has left a little bit of white behind, but I can easily cover that up. And I'm going to use this little label, and I'm going to put it that way across and just cut it after the colon there, and then just use that portion to create an end for it. So I'm going to go and do that now. I'm just going to tuck it on there. So I'll put a little dab of glue here. I've got a couple of strands of DMC thread on my needle, and I'm just going to pop that up there. I'm going to bring in my mouse mat and just going to make some holes where I want to do my stitching. Now I have actually put a quilter's knot in the back of this, but I'm going to put a little bit of double-sided tape over it as well as an extra belt and braces, like that. And I will trim away that knot. There we go. Just want that to stay nice and flat behind my collage. And I'm just going to do a couple of crosses . And I'm hoping that will pick up the gold there on that. I'm going to go down to where I've got my B, and I'm just going to make some little holes, and I'm going to do a few stitches down here, just straight stitches. There we go. That is all I'm going to do on here other than my splatters. So I'm just going to finish this off. I split underneath the B to get that label in there, so that's what you're seeing here on this side. I'm just going to put a little bit of tape over the top of that to hold it. It's not going to go anywhere, but I will do it just as a safety precaution. There we go. So all I need to do now is my splatters, and then I'm finished. Okay, for my splatters I've got a white Posca pen, and I've just brought in a TV guide, and I'm just going to cover up one or two pieces on here that I don't want splattering. And there we go, I think that's enough. I'm just going to give this a blast with my heat gun, and then I'll be back. I did a few extra splatters using a Posca's gold pen, so I've got some white and gold splatters on there. And that's my finished piece for this week. So bringing in the prompts, a border or a frame. Well, I went with this circle piece here. Something found in a library, a vintage cabinet card. A bug or an insect. Well, I went with this bee down here, but I've also got a tiny little butterfly in there. A piece of newspaper. Well, I went for this newsprint brown paper bag that's in the background there and along the bottom. Stitching, real, drawn or stamped. Well, I went with some hand stitching this time. Normally I always go in with machine stitching, but I thought I'd do something different today. So using a couple of strands of DMC stranded cotton, I put some random crosses down there and a couple of stitches down here so that I've got my rule of 3 in the gold colour there. And paint splatters, well, you saw me go in with white, and I also use my gold Posca pen to give some warmer tones to pick up the colour of the thread and my butterfly. So thank you everybody for watching. I hope you enjoyed seeing this one come together, and I hope you'll join me next week. I've got splatters on me. That's the trouble when I do splattering, it goes everywhere. Sorry about that. So thank you so much, as always, everybody, for watching and joining me today. Really loved having your company. Hope you enjoyed seeing this one come together, and I hope you'll join me next Monday when I tackle prompt number 23. Until then, take care, get lots of crafting in if you can, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye now.